Gospel reading today comes from the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 9, verses 14 through 26. And I am reading from an adapted version of the Common English Bible. When Jesus, Peter, James, and John approached the other disciples, they saw a large crowd surrounding them and legal experts arguing with them. Suddenly, the whole crowd caught sight of Jesus. They ran to greet him, overcome with excitement. Jesus asked them, "What are you arguing about?" Someone from the crowd responded, "Teacher, I brought my daughter to you, since she has a spirit that does not allow her to speak. Wherever it overpowers her, it throws her into a fit. She foams at the mouth, grinds her teeth, and stiffens up. So I spoke to your disciples to see if they could throw it out, but they could not." Jesus answered them, "You faithless generation, how long will I be with you? How long will I put up with you? Bring her to me." They brought her. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the girl into a fit. She fell on the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked her father, "How long has this been going on?" He said, "Since she was a child. It has often thrown her into a fire or into water, trying to kill her. If you can do anything, help us, show us compassion." Jesus said to him, "If you can do anything, all things are possible for the one who has faith." At that, the girl's father cried out, "I have faith. Help my lack of faith." Noticing that the crowd had surged together, Jesus spoke harshly to the unclean spirit, "Mute and deaf spirit, I command you to come out of her and never enter her again." After screaming and shaking the girl horribly, the spirit came out. The girl seemed to be dead. In fact, several people said that she had died. These are the words of life for you, the children of life. Thanks be to God. After screaming and shaking the girl horribly, the spirit came out. The girl seemed to be dead. In fact, several people said that she had died. If we continue reading Mark's telling of this healing, this exorcism, we learn that Jesus takes the girl by the hand and she arises. But we don't know how long the girl waits in this seeming state of death. We can reasonably guess that even 5 minutes or 60 seconds may have seemed like an eternity, especially for someone who has already faced so many trials. And let us be mindful that these trials have been beyond even the pain and despair of physical or mental illness. These are spiritual trials. The girl is possessed by a demon that is mute, speechless, and that renders the girl speechless as well. A demon so strong that Jesus' disciples were unable to cast it out. A demon so strong that even upon seeing Jesus, it still had the power to take hold of the child, throwing her violently to the ground in convulsions, causing her to foam at the mouth. A demon so strong that even after Jesus commands it to come out, it shakes the child again, making one last powerful public and vocal stand, shouting, shrieking, in essence causing her to speak in a voice that is not her own. At each step of the child's journey toward Jesus, toward healing, it appears that her condition has grown not progressively better, but worse. She has lived with this foul spirit for years. She has survived being thrown in the fire, being burnt alive. She has survived being thrown in the water, being almost drowned. Now, her father brings her to Jesus, believing, albeit not completely trusting, that she will be healed. We might expect to hear that after the foul spirit was removed, the crowd was ecstatic, joyful, crying out with glee, "She is healed, she is clean, she is ready now to live the life to which God has called her." But what we hear instead are words of grief. She has died. And in reading this text this time, I could not move beyond the reports of her death. I could not move beyond her appearance as one who had died. Questions stayed with me. How long does she seem dead? How long does the crowd send forth news of her death? How long does she feel the emptiness, the loneliness, the despair, the grief of death? This in-between time, with this evil spirit removed, but without the girl having the appearance of life, reminds me of going through those 1 day, 3 day, for some of us 7 day, healthy living, cleansing, detox programs. Those feelings pre-cleansing of our bodies not being our own, bloated, rumbling, stomachs in knots, feeling like undigested food has lodged at the base of our throats, ready to send us convulsing at any moment. The anticipation of relief, of a return to cleanliness, to life upon drinking the magic potion. The feeling of relief when our bodies are actually cleansed. But the cleansing often does not bring immediate joy, life, energy. In fact, it often leaves us with just the opposite feelings: emptiness, tiredness, a desire to do nothing more than sit or sleep. And our minds become obsessed with filling the emptiness, finding a quick cure to energy loss by replenishing our bodies with the same unhealthy, even toxic foods of which we were just cleansed. Cappuccinos and lattes, key lime pies and chocolate cake, fried fish and macaroni and cheese would surely bring us back to life. Oh, the willpower it takes not to succumb to the temptation, to resist the urge to refill with what defiles us instead of waiting for what will nourish us. Oh, the willpower it takes to trust in the process of cleansing, to trust that this period of listlessness, of feeling dead and lifeless, will not last forever. Yet we know that if we want to truly be cleansed, if we want to feel better, to be better, we must trust. We must stay the course. We must wait to be filled with what is nourishing, life-giving, and life-sustaining. I believe that as Christians, and in particular as Christians called to ministry, in whatever form that ministry will present itself, we repeatedly find ourselves in these in-between periods when we appear dead to ourselves and to those around us. We have been called by God, brought forth into God's presence to be healed. We have felt the effects of the evil that pursues us, that has sought to destroy us. How long have we avoided the fires that threaten to consume us? The burning agony of voicelessness in a society and local churches that fail to embrace a loving God, that refuse to recognize the interdependence of all life. How long have we felt the flames that scorch our basic human dignity? How long have we struggled to keep our heads above the waters that threaten to overwhelm us, above the swelling tides of isolation and loss, above the crashing waves of debt and despair? Like the girl possessed by the mute spirit, we have survived many trials, and we come into God's presence with a need to be cleansed of what is toxic within us and around us. Like the girl possessed by the mute spirit, God cleanses us of the demons that tie us to ways of thinking and ways of living to which we have clung, but that are toxic to our ability to live the lives to which we have been called. Yet with this cleansing comes these in-between periods. We hear the murmurs in the crowd, the pronouncements of our death, the death of our potential, of our promise of worldly success. We may even proclaim our own death, our own giving in to the forces around and within us, forces whose voices seem to come forth with vigor, whose strengths shake us to our core just at the times, at the moments when we are oh so close to feeling God's hand in ours, to being lifted up, to rising as preachers, as ministers, as people called to proclaim and to act in keeping with God's words. We can't help but wonder, how long will it be before we rise? The answer quite simply is, we do not know. No matter how many times we are cleansed, we cannot predict the time of waiting. Our ability to hold fast, to wait with patience and joyful anticipation comes not from knowing how long the wait will be, but from knowing with whom we wait. Just as Jesus is present with this child in Mark's gospel, God is present with each of us, ready to take hold, to lift us, to help us rise and to speak with our own voice. As we wait, what matters is not that we may appear dead to others, that they may herald our demise. What matters is not that at times we even feel dead ourselves. What matters is that God knows we are alive. What matters is that God has been with us through the convulsing and tearing, through the moments that we have been speechless, through the times when we've spoken in a voice that is other than our own. What matters is that we do not succumb to the temptation to end our waiting by reaching for hands that pull us away from our calls, from our ministries. What matters is that God can and will command evil to remove itself. That God can and will cleanse us, sustain us, replenish us. And when the moment is right, God will take hold of us and share with us the vision and the strength to rise